2, start. Hi, my name is Michelle, and I want to welcome and thank you all for taking your time out to come and join me on how to make Vietnamese coffee and the benefits of it. So as our second part of our session, we've actually gone over the different ingredients that's needed and the 3 simple steps that's needed actually to complete this process. So before we start, I just want to ask everybody, has anyone ever actually said to themselves, I should really decrease on my caffeine intake and actually, just drink less coffee? And then your first step is actually to move and try some decaf coffee, but realize it just doesn't taste the same. Did you know that decaf coffee actually still contains caffeine in it, but has actually gone through a chemical process that actually depletes not only the caffeine, some of the caffeine actually, and the flavor. For those of you that are very familiar with your chemistry terms, unlike myself, it goes through a process called methyl chloride, and I don't know about you guys, but all I know is that that's the same stuff that you can find in nail polish remover. For me, that's definitely not something that I want to be having in my body. So a great alternative, Vietnamese coffee. Vietnamese coffee is low in caffeine due to the fact that it's cultivated in different types of varieties by the producers that can actually be low in caffeine intake. So the first step that we're going to go through is we're going to go through very quickly just the ingredients that we're going to take. So again, that's 5 simple ingredients and 3 very simple steps to go through. So the first ingredient that you're going to need is some hot water, which I have inside a flask, some sweet condensed milk, and I've actually had this already into my mug, a fin, a metal contraption that we're going to use, and I'll explain a little bit further on this, some coffee grinds, a spoon, and some ice as an option. So let's start. First step, you're going to put about 2 to 3 teaspoons of sweet condensed milk into a mug. For those of you that like your coffee a little sweet, you might want to go ahead and use the 3 teaspoons. But for those of you that aren't really sure the sweetness of it, I suggest going with about 2 teaspoons and then slowly adding more to increase the sweetness afterwards so that you can actually try it. So now that we have this in here, we're going to move on to our second step, which is we're going to fill up our fin. The fin is actually spelled P-H-I-N, and it's a metal contraption used specifically to make Vietnamese coffee. What you're going to use is remove the lid, and the inside you're going to see a metal post, and we call that the spine. In order to remove the spine, you just twist it to loosen it up so that it comes apart. Now what we're going to do inside is we're going to take our teaspoon and our coffee, and we're going to add 3 teaspoons of coffee grinds into our fin. Now, the more that you add, of course, the more fragrant it's going to be. Now we're going to fill that up a little bit there. Now that we have our coffee grinds inside, we are going to attach our fin back on, just the same way that we did it in the opposite set, where we're going to twist it back on. Now you want the fin and the spine to be on snug. You don't want it too loose, but you don't want it too tight as well. Just until it gives you a little bit of a push. Now what you're going to do in your third step is you're going to put the fin on top of your mug that's full of your sweet condensed milk. Now you're going to take your hot water and you're only going to fill it to about 1/4 of the way full. So again, this is our third step. Now as you just saw, it's dripped really fast. So what I want to make sure is that the spine is on tight. And the reason for this is, if the water goes through too fast, it's not going to capture all that fragrance from the grinds itself. So it's better to have it tighter than looser. So now the water's gone through. Let's start that process one more time. We're going to fill it up about 1/4 of the way through. Wait about 10 seconds or so. Once you start to see it drip, just like that, that's the perfect amount and the time that you want the water to go through. Once that's the case, you are going to fill the rest of your fin with hot water all the way to the top of it. We're going to take the fin's little cap and we're going to put it back on top. And that's it. We're just going to let it sit and wait till it goes through, and then we're going to enjoy. The whole process takes about 5 to 7 minutes or so, so it's actually very fast. So you just pop it out when you wake up in the morning, go brush your teeth and change, and when you're done, your coffee is ready to go. Now, Vietnamese coffee can be enjoyed in 2 different ways. The first one is you can have it hot. So once this has gone through, what you're using, we're going to remove the fin. We're going to add a little bit more hot water just to about where the glass is about halfway full. Take your spoon, mix it up with the sweet condensed milk on the bottom, and enjoy. Because Vietnam itself is such a hot country, a lot of times most people like to have a nice, cool, refreshing drink. So we can drink this cold. So very similar process. Once this is fully dripped through, we're going to remove the fin. We're going to take our spoon, mix it up, add about halfway through of hot water. Now once that's done, we're going to take our ice that we had as an option. We're going to put that into another mug, and we're going to pour the mixture through, the nice hot mixture through, so that it melts the ice. Let it sit for a little bit, mix it up, and you're going to have a nice cool drink. So just a little bit background. Vietnam coffee producers are actually the second largest one in the world, just behind Brazil. The climate and the altitudes of the upper slopes in the Vietnam mountains actually cultivate some of the most robust and aromatic coffee that you can find. Coffee was first introduced into Vietnam by the French in the 19th century. Now, so just to go through a little bit on where we can find some of the things that we've just used today. So with the fin, along with the coffee grinds, you can go to one of the coffee shops that you can find between Main and Fraser Street down on Kingsway. You just walk in and tell them, you know, I need some equipment and some coffee grinds for Vietnamese coffee, and most of the time they usually would have it there. When you buy the fin, most of them pretty much look the same. You just want to make sure that it's not flimsy and the material is nice and put together. You don't want it to fall apart on you. With the coffee grinds, it's a little bit hard to say. The best thing to do is to smell it through the package, see how aromatic it is, because the more aromatic it is through a tightly sealed package, the better it's going to smell afterwards. And a lot of times it is through trial and error to see exactly what flavor it is that you like and how robust and aromatic it is that you're looking for. If you can't find Vietnamese coffee grinds, your alternative is that you could use Starbucks grinds or any other kind of coffee grinds that you use at home. The smell and the taste won't be the same, but the principle and the process of it's more or less going to be the same. So before we end off, as you can see, it's slowly dripping, so we still got a little more time, and unfortunately we won't have time to actually show you the finished product, but basically it's going to look more or less about the same here. But to go over some simple steps, again, we need 5 simple ingredients and 3 simple steps. Hot water, a fin, a mug filled with sweet condensed milk, coffee grinds, a spoon, and ice as an option. And those 3 simple steps, that's all we need today. So I want to thank you for taking your time out to watch this presentation with me, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be going home and trying this yourself, because this definitely is a lot easier than you think. So have a great day, and I look forward to hearing all about your adventures with Vietnamese coffee. Thank you. Done.